Hey everyone, as I said, I'm just giving everyone just a few minutes to join in, so bear with me. I see a lot of people are just popping on right now, so we're just going to give it a few more minutes. I see people are still getting on, so we'll just give it a few more seconds and then we'll go ahead and get started talking about my new book, I Can't Have Cancer, I Have Carpool. I know that my oldest is joining from San Francisco, so I can't wait to see her on screen. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I am so excited to begin this session with you today. Hi, everyone. Thank you so very much for being here today for this virtual book event celebrating the launch of my new book, I Can't Have Cancer, I Have Carpool, Lessons on Beating Cancer While Being a Mom. I truly appreciate you spending time with me today. We're only going to be together today for about 15 minutes, but before we get started, I want to start off with a fun Zoom exercise where I'm going to give away 5 free copies of my book. Now, our exercise is going to go like this, so follow instructions and don't start until I count to 3. For the first 5 people who type the word hello into the chat box, you will receive a free copy of my book. So on the count of 3, not yet, don't say it yet, on the count of 3, the first 5 people to type the word hello will get a free copy. Okay, are we ready? 1, 2, 3, go. And we've got our 5 winners. Thank you so much. That was just something to kind of get us all warmed up and prepared for today. Thank you so much. I will get with the 5 of you who were able to be fast and furious with your typing, and we'll get a book to you at the end of this presentation. I am beyond excited to share my story with you today. This book has been a labor of love, and I can't wait to take you through the journey of how it came to be. So let's dive in. First, a little bit about me. My name is Elizabeth Hodges, and I am an 18-year chronic leukemia and adult cystic fibrosis survivor. I am also a proud mom of 3 adult daughters who are grown and gone. My husband and I are empty nesters, and we split our time living in England and Florida. I spent my career working in marketing communications for over 25 years, and now I'm proud to say I'm also an author. I was diagnosed at 38 years old when my oldest daughter was 6 and my twins were 2 years old. This picture is of us together with my mom just months before my diagnosis. Life before cancer was a whirlwind of carpools, children's activities, and endless to-do lists, just like any other busy mom. On this day, I felt healthy, normal, and happy to be sitting in the sunshine, surrounded by my family. But then the trajectory of my life changed dramatically. Like everyone diagnosed with cancer, I still remember the exact moment when I heard the words, "You have leukemia." As I describe in the first chapter of my book, we were at the airport on our way to Florida, where I am right now, to visit my parents for spring break. My doctor called me as the entire family was boarding the plane on March 6th, 2006. He shared that some alarming blood work results had come back, indicating that I might have leukemia. He wanted me to get to the emergency room as soon as possible, and we were forced to abandon our trip. In that moment, my life froze and my life exploded. Within hours that day, I was diagnosed with an acute form of leukemia where my chances of survival were about 30%. Fortunately, and after much testing, my diagnosis was changed to a chronic form of leukemia known as chronic myelogenous leukemia, or CML. Then, 6 weeks after my cancer diagnosis, doctors determined that I also had adult cystic fibrosis when they were determining if I could be a candidate for a bone marrow transplant. I had an adult version of cystic fibrosis, which most often affects children. About 10% of people with CF are diagnosed as adults like me. As you can imagine, 2 disease diagnoses within 6 weeks was unbelievably devastating. Both diseases still do not have a cure. Thankfully, my CML is in deep remission and my adult CF is under control. So this is why I wrote this book. I have vivid memories of being in the hospital that night, feeling shocked and incredibly scared. I felt I needed something to turn to, a book or a fellow survivor to help me cope with the overwhelming anxiety. The internet was not as sophisticated as it is today, and it offered some helpful clinical advice, but very little focused on the human experience of being a mother with cancer. I wrote this book to help other mothers feeling the same way as me. This book is full of the lessons I learned from that day and over the ensuing 18 years. It's meant to be an easy resource in place of the internet, which, let's face it, after a cancer diagnosis, that's the last place you want to be initially. It can be scary to read about your disease, statistics, treatment, everything. Finally, I want mothers to know that they are not alone in their experience. Today, social media is filled with mothers sharing their stories, their treatment, how it's going, and how their kids are doing, which might be a bit overwhelming. So what's inside? This book bridges that gap and provides fresh, easy to digest, helpful lessons. I Can't Have Cancer, I Have Carpool isn't about multitasking your way through an illness. It's about how motherhood can empower you and restore your sense of control while facing cancer. Now, writing this book has been an adventure. However, through it all, I knew so much of what I went through could be useful for other mothers. There were late night writing sessions, coffee-fueled edits, and moments of self-doubt, but here we are with a book that I am so very proud of. My 18-year journey with cancer has taught me that motherhood can be the strongest motivator to survive and thrive. The lessons I learned became chapters in this book. Now, there's a lot of words on this slide. Don't get overwhelmed. These are just some of the chapters from my book, and I want to just walk you through a few of them. Chapter 1 talks about the diagnosis that doesn't have to change your life, the early days and weeks. I remember so vividly my first days home. There was an abundance and outpouring of love and meals, a lot of meals delivered to our house, people offering to drive my children everywhere and drive carpool. It was slightly traumatic and overwhelming, and I share tips and advice on how to get through these early days and weeks, because the diagnosis doesn't have to change your life immediately. Chapter 2, I talk about some of the hardest conversations, telling your children and your family. When I was diagnosed, my girls were 6 and twin 2-year-olds. Those were 2 very different conversations. I talk about in this chapter how to talk to high schoolers, middle schoolers, 6-year-olds, and yes, even toddlers. You'll see in chapter 5, when the dust settles, all mothers with cancer, their treatment will eventually end, and the infamous new normal begins. It's something that you hear a lot about when you're first diagnosed, but you're not quite sure what it is in your survivorship journey. I talk about that. What is the new normal and what is it like? Because your life will never be the same. One of the final chapters, I talk about cancer and the working mom. Over 18 years, I was both a stay-at-home mom and a working mom. I give advice and ideas on how to bring cancer into the workplace or not, how to work with your employer and share information about your disease or not. There's a lot of resources available for working mothers. This is just a few of the chapters that you will encounter in my book and some of the lessons that you will learn. So let's celebrate. My book officially went on sale last Tuesday. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple Books. I'm thrilled to say that as of yesterday, my book was number 4 in new releases in cancer books, which is incredibly exciting. Thank you to those who have already purchased and helped make that happen. I'm grateful. I would love to stay in touch with each of you going forward. You can find me on Instagram, LinkedIn, or follow along on my website at elizabethhodges.com, where you'll find more information about me, the book, and my new blog. And finally, if I could ask just one favor from everybody present today. I know many of you are not mothers with cancer. However, if you hear of a mom who has recently been diagnosed, please keep my book in mind to recommend, or even after you've read my book, and thank you once again, pass it along who you know to someone who might need it. It might be all the inspiration that they need. Before we end, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for showing up today, for celebrating this milestone with me, and for all the encouragement I've received. If you enjoy the book, I'd be grateful if you'd leave a review online. I want to say thank you to my husband for his love and support, to my daughters, Mia, Lily, and Eliza, my parents, and to my brother, Bill. Today, my editor, Professor Leah Hughes, has joined the meeting. Thank you, Leah, for all your editorial guidance. I can see on screen that members from the publishing company, Book Logic in Atlanta, has also joined us and are on the call, including Erin, the amazing book designer of my book cover. Thank you all so very much. You're amazing. And that's it, folks. Thank you so much again for joining today. I truly, truly appreciate your support. My book is I Can't Have Cancer, I Have Carpool, Lessons on Beating Cancer While Being a Mom. Thanks again. Bye, everyone.